Good afternoon, everyone. BC Richfield here, coming to you live from London. It's just got a couple of minutes past midday here, making it the same UTC cup of tea countdown is on Aussie. In fact, I'm sitting here with a steaming fresh cup of it right now. Solid Yorkshire tea, breakfast brew. Let's go. Gio, good morning. Good morning to everybody else. And a big shout out to everybody that's watching this live today, as well as everybody around the world that watches this on catch up. It has been a joy recently. We have 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6,000 of you with us live watching this, which is just simply a pleasure. Good morning, Erica. How are we doing? Apologies if I've missed any of you. Good morning. Sometimes we don't get them all come through here on the chat, but a very, very, very big shout out to everyone. So really good day today. Truth will prevail. Love that. And absolutely another big bullish day in the markets. Look, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin. We're going to dive into some alts. We're going to look at where we're positioned, what we're looking at, everything like that. Jesse, good morning. And yeah, look, I mean, we want to just keep this really, really simple. Okay. That's the very, very best way to do it. But before we do this, do make sure, excuse me, please, to go into the description and make sure that you're registered for free trading Congress. Okay, it's our trading Congress. It's a yearly event. It's our 5th annual version of this. We bring some of the biggest names in the industry, some from exchanges to influencers to traders to people who are going to have insights that you genuinely, I don't want to miss them, right? So please make sure that you don't. It's our little give back that we do every year in the build up to Christmas. We bring the biggest, brightest names in the industry on. We will have people there from Binance, from Byte, some of the biggest exchanges in the world, some of the biggest protocols, tokens, builders, teams, some exciting news to bring you about some of the people making the biggest waves in terms of trading bots, how you can get involved in the market. And beyond all of that, we open up our entire paid Discord for free. All right. So you get, I can't even remember how many days it is now, but it's a load of days for you to come in. You get access to everybody's calls, all of the trading team's calls. It's 2 weeks free access. I've just had confirmed from the man in my ear. Thank you very much. And, you know, if you want to find out anything more about that, look, just let me show you a few of these. Members have just been absolutely killing it with these trading calls. All right. So just make sure it's something that you're involved in as well. It's just an opportunity for you guys to come on board and make some money, right? That's the absolute truth of it. So I'm going to leave it there. All the links and everything are down in the description. I will remind everyone again before the end, but there's no catch. You just sign up. There can be prize giveaways, amazing speakers. We're going to be doing tons of stuff. So make sure you are there for it. So without further ado, let's jump onto the charts. And for everybody that's watching this, if you have got some tickers you would like me to take a look at, then I am going to ultimately make a lot of time for that today. We're going to take a very quick run through Bitcoin. All right. So one of the things here that you'll see first, just a completely naked chart. This is our B Pro indicator. All right. Standalone indicator. You get access to this as a member as well. And look at the advantage that you have here. We reclaim this really key level here. This was the previous all-time high. Close above it, retesting this level. What does B Pro do? Flicked bullish here on the 6th of November. That means that you have had no less, confirmation candle was here. So you have had no less than a 25% move up. That's $18,934 worth of profit without leverage, obviously, as well, over a 12-day trading period. You know, combine that with all of the trading team calls. That means in the last 2 months alone, you would have well over 1.5x your entire account, 150% returns. I think actually 160, 170 now. So do come and get involved, make some money. However, I really like B Pro on the 4-hour. I'm going to show you, we're just going to zoom out a bit because I really do want to just do a higher time frame rundown of that as well. But just to show you here as well on the daily, it had us in here, double confirmation sat. We see that flip on the 6th. Daily aligns with it perfectly. This game is all about confluence. So without further ado, what are we going to do? We are going to jump out here onto the weekly, and let me make a note of these as well. Good morning, Domsy. How are you doing? Phoenix, TAO, absolutely, my friend. Yeah, I mean, look, by all means, grab me a follow, but what I would say is more than kind of building my own follow account here is follow the Bird Nest. Just get yourself involved in Congress, mate. It's all completely free. Come along, join in, have a good bit of fun, get some prize giveaways, get access to the Discord, kill it with some trading team calls. We have a professional trading team. We are one of the few communities that can say that. Professional full-time trading team that is definitely the highlight of my career, has been, to manage that team. Not that they take much management, but it is just a joy to work with them every day, along with obviously Crypto Burb and the rest of the amazing people we have over there. So go and get involved in that for you. But of course, we will take a look at TAO. Erica, our lovely Erica, there we go. Vanry as well. And just keep them coming, guys. If I miss any of them in the chat, do just give me a little nudge and I'll get straight on that. Chris B, hello, mate, as well. And Jesse, apologies if I missed you there on the hello as well. Domsy, doing great. That's what we love to see. Prosperous market conditions. Love this as well. Fully charged. This is the time to be doubling down, everyone. I really, really mean that. I'm not talking about over leveraging, but I am talking about if you're not on board, as we have been for a long time now, that this bull market conditions are back and they're just in full flow. In fact, I'll show you exactly the point that I had that confirmation on my charts, which is always shared with members as well as the rest of the team and their input. Once we set this gap, we changed structure here. Look, September, this was just, it was lining up to be big. All right. However, key areas for me here on a weekly scale, because I really want to rip through some charts today, guys. So do not hesitate if you've got any questions, but I'm just going to really start tearing through these because there's a few others I want to introduce you to as well. A few others that I'm really kind of buzzed on as well and tell you what I'm positioned in. Pixel, absolutely. Luna. Yeah, Luna had a real kind of resurgence, didn't it? Really, really, really crazy. So what am I interested in here? Do I think we're going to get this? Don't know if we're going to get a retest of this level, to be honest, but really would like to see the higher that we set back here in March, which is 73,775 over here on BitGet, who I'm trading with. You can find links in the description to them as well to grab yourself some insanely good offers, as well as up to $6,200, I think, in sign-up bonuses. Okay, nice. JC Byte, hello, mate. Look at how long Byte. Okay, well, let's take a look then, shall we? Why not? BYTE. We'll take a look at that ticker as well. Now, in an ideal world, I like seeing these kind of areas retested, but do we always get them? No, we don't, right? So the key for me is finessing the lower timeframes, the middling timeframes to find those key areas of interest. Ultimately, if price were to come down into this kind of area, this weekly gap, or even better, retest this, then I think that is going to be a situation where we see some really, really serious buying opportunities. However, I just, crypto can run so hot. I'm not convinced that we get a pullback that deep. So what did I open with last night? Well, for anybody that's interested, you can see my Bitcoin report is shared with members every week on a Sunday. One of the professional team share one every single day. And you can get access to those. So the key points from my report really were the fact that looking at this from a bullish perspective, and in fact, I'll just flick on my daily data here, right? Quite simply, we're holding this order block at the moment. This is this down close or bearish candle here. You'll often see this drawn as a box as well, right? Used to have these as blue on my chart. I just don't typically have it as a box anymore because it's a little bit obtrusive. But the key thing here is this. It's this top line here I'm interested of the body. We see price closed above it here, which for me then validates this as an order block or area of demand. What I'm now looking for in here is I'm saying, okay, well, are we holding this area? I'm very interested in the equilibrium of this, right? So let me just put that on here. The 50%, we didn't quite tag it, which is fine. I just don't want to see price closing into this area ideally. You want to see wicks down into this. The wicks at the end of the day are the buying opportunities, which we'll look at on the lower time frames. Key targets here, it's, makes sense to find a very small bit of resistance here, right? Just this very, very, very small interior high here, right? Drag it back, equal highs across here as well. Price just having a little bit of a nibble at that and pulling back at the moment, but ultimately, look how bullish it is. The traditional market trader in me wants to say that this is overextended here, but we have to take that with a pinch of salt, knowing that this is crypto. However, it doesn't mean I'm just blindly longing here. One of the things that you can do is you wait for a key point of interest, a POI, say this order block here, this fair value gap. And then what you do is you drop onto a lower time frame And then you just look for these longing patterns, right? You look for a low to be swept, recovery of that low. Really, really safe way to go into this. So let's say, for example, we imagine we've got a key level here. Yeah. Move this so we've got some clear space and don't confuse anyone, right? We've got a clear level here. What happens? Price comes in, dips below that level. What does this become? You know, for me, I always hear SE's voice in my head from this, right? That's our deviation. Price then reclaims. We have that structure shift to the upside here. Let me draw that in for you properly. So what's price done here? It's come down, it's engaged with the key level. This is our point of interest. That's our sweep. Yeah, that's catching people offside. That's the inducement. This is the expansion. This is where it tells you that price is ready to move. And then there's multiple ways we can get involved in this. You can look for gaps. You can draw your breaker line across or your breaker candle that sits in there. Either way, what we know when we form these kind of structures on the lower time frames is where we have a clean entry and just as importantly, where our risk is. We know where we're wrong, right? And then ultimately, if price were to break down from here, you know, and get back underneath this level, then ultimately, you know, it's showing us weakness, right? So if we're wrong on this and then price gives out and climbs back below this, you know, my dear friend Trader Dank would always say at the end of the day, you need to ask him about his story about Johnny and the range. And in fact, if you're all lucky, we might be able to get it out of him, you know, over Trading Congress if he's someone that's involved in it. They're the kind of legends we're, you know, that we bring to you every year with Congress. But yeah, it's basically, look, if this is strong here and it's above here and it breaks back down below, we see that as weakness, right? And that then could bring in some intraday short opportunities. Vic, good morning, mate. Good morning. Anyway, so even on the daily here at the moment, everything's so bullish. Just these massive pumps after massive pumps. This consolidation is typically quite good for altcoins. It's holding above a key level. So let's just take a look on the 4 hour because we're really going to need to finesse some of these charts. Now, yes, I've openly been quite vocal about wanting price to be lower, but just from a buying perspective, you know, I would really like to be a buyer down here. In terms of our lower time frame targets, right, on the 4 hour, basically you can see how we're just stacking this liquidity here. And I love this low here, right, the one at 85.96. Do I think we're going to get it again? I don't really know. But what I do know is I'm an interested buyer here, here, and here if we see those pumps. All right, and Victor here, BC, I've got a plan. Leave the hoodie off until we get 87k so we can re-long some more and then put it on for me for the 99k pump. You bet your ass, Victor, that is exactly how this is going to play out. So we were doing some live trading with the members. Victor's one of our wonderful members over at the Bird Nest. And last week we had some live trades on Bitcoin, and the position we were in, you know, we do it intraday, 3 days a week. We trade together live with members. Just some scalping, and we had an intraday scalp open on Bitcoin. It looked like a really good position, but price was just kind of chopping around a lot. We didn't have a massively news-driven week. So Victor suggested, and I think Erica as well, that I wasn't harnessing my full inner degen, right? So basically what that means is where I come, you know, I'm much more of a traditional market trader as well as crypto, but, you know, the guys over at TBN, including a lot of the members, have really, really made me very, very, very pro-crypto. And off the back of that, they said, look, I just don't think you're maybe not degen enough at the moment. So I went to get my TBN hoodie, one of my most prized possessions. They're rare collectible hoodies that we've created over the last few years. And I'm fortunate enough to have 2 of them, which is as many as any other team member, I believe. And so I went and got that, put that on, sat back down on the charts. And what happened? We absolutely tore and ended up doing like a 6x trade or something off the back of that. So that's what Victor's alluding to. And I like that play, Victor. I would love to be a buyer down here, right? So this is very much long the hell out of this and deploy hoodie for maximum pump. Yeah, perfect. That's basically what that area stands for. All right. So if we get down to here, I think then you've got some seriously big buying opportunities. However, as it stands at the moment, you know, look, price quite simply, if we're looking at this in terms of that, that's the level, especially on the intraday basis, that's capping the market at the moment. Okay. It's this high setback here. It's the high at 91,812.49. We can see what happened here. It was originally this high, which then got swept by this. That's now been swept again. This led to this large sell-off. However, not really the time to panic. Look, this big black line all the way down to here represents the daily order block. Remember, this whole area is still for buying. And if we break it down and decant it further on the 4 hour, we have this beautiful 4-hour order block as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hide this for a moment just so the chart's nice and clean so that we've got our context. High time frame says we're holding key levels, key points of interest look higher. So until I get a signal from my system that I should be looking lower, then I'd basically be a bit of a muppet if I was looking to short this market when everything's so bullish. Break down and start to lose some key levels, and then we can take intraday plays, right? We've got liquidity resting here, all of those areas that I labeled up all the way down to the long the hell out of this and deploy the hoodie box, right? But until then, this area is holding, right? So what have we got? Well, actually, it's looking really nice here, right? Look, we've got a higher high, just snuck above and took liquidity from that. A higher low, now another higher high. We've actually got bullish market structure on every one of our time frames at the moment. And what we've got here is a beautiful sweep of liquidity, right? This came in last night, boom. Sunday, took out the low, came in. We had that another Asia pump again. And we've had those lovely overnight Asia pumps as well. Price coming back down. Now what we want to see is we want to look into here and say to ourselves, all right, what do we want to see in there? What do we want to see in this box? And actually look kind of how vicious this sell-off was. 11 o'clock my time, you know, we had most of that retraced here in an hourly candle. So if I want extra confirmation here, and the hourly is my real kind of framing time frame here, meaning that I'm taking that information from the higher time frame and I'm putting it into the hourly and saying, okay, hourly, give me a setup. For example, when price flushed out this liquidity here and holding this 4-hour order block, we've dived into this. Now what we're saying is, okay, where could I have been a buyer in here? Quite simply, you can wait for this structure. Yeah. So what do we get here? Let me just pop our dear friend and member of the Bird Nest Geo's indicator off for a second. That's how we use our trading sessions and times. But that's for our intraday trading. So just to keep it extra clean, I'm just going to put that away for a second. So what happened? We had the sweep. Where can we get involved and what do we want to see? Because this is going to represent a carbon copy of what we look for here. So there's two areas here I'm really interested in. These down close candles, which make the hourly order block. What's really interesting about this is price closed above it, setting this order block here, and we never got a retest of this. Maybe this is what price is coming in to do here. Retest this, really see if the buyers are here. But remember, we might not get it because we've got the 4-hour gap over here, which has also seen a really nice sweep of liquidity within it as well. So all of a sudden you can see, you know, how price is reacting at these key liquidity levels. Anyway, the key area to be a buyer here, by the way, was here. What did we do? Had our purge on liquidity. Yeah, then we took out this high. What does that represent here? That is our market structure shift, all right? You see that as an MSS. Yeah, so why is that? Because we're setting, there's a high, higher low, lower high, lower low, back to a higher high with a nice bit of momentum. What does that tell us? 4-hour gap here. What's that overlaid with? Lovely hourly gap, which I'm just going to do in green so it stands out. So this to me here absolutely represents a decent buying zone, all right? If we want a little bit more confirmation, because yes, we have inverted this gap. When we invert a gap, that means this was our expectation, like this green box here was for this box to offer support until price carved through it. Now we've disrespected that. We've created this inversion gap. We expect this to offer a little bit of resistance. If we want to wait for confirmation, right, and just move this back again. Remember, this is the level, this was the sweep, but also the level we were interested to see if price can get back above. So all of a sudden, we've got a couple of key things here. We can wait for price to come up, get this bullish close above here. What do we do in this? Well, in one single motion, if we got this kind of move, we would have invalidated this, which is also a balanced price range, meaning there's a bullish gap. Close through with a bearish gap. As long as this closes, we're waiting for that confirmation. Get a close above here, reclaim this level, and then I think we're really, really going to moon. While we hold below this box, I'm going to be a little bit cautious, all right? I want to see how the New York trading session opens, especially we've got about an hour and 10 minutes before pre-market on that. I think that will tell us a lot at the moment. What I'm really questioning is, okay, you know, if we look at this, pretty much kind of got a range here, right? If you look at it like that, you've got your range high, your range low here. We've had the deviation, price comes back up, doesn't quite make it to the highs. But I tell you what, it would have almost certainly played out a nice midline here, right? So look what we've got here. Price comes up, deviates the mid, retest, sells off. Deviation again, then we get stuck here, but pop to the range highs. So we've had this deviation of the range high now. Price ultimately lost the midline. The most obvious place is then we start looking for the range low area. So breaking down from here, these are the areas I'm interested in. And at the real lows, then this low that's sat down here, which is 88,710 here on BitGet, becomes a really key area of interest. Really what I want to see more than anything for today is just Bitcoin to kind of hold this ranging area. Yeah, no major breakdowns. We don't need any major pumps here. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this then kind of washes through into altcoins as well. So with that in mind, let's just start by looking at Ethereum, and then we're going to move through Tao, Vanry, Pixel, Luna, and Byte, BYTE. If there are any other tickers, guys, please do let me know. I'm going to pause for 2 seconds to just take a quick sip of tea. While it's still nice and hot. So let's get ourselves onto ETH. Let's see what ETH is showing us, right? Right, so ETH, we can see over here. Let me just get rid of this, probably just some testing data from in the week. I'm sure it's not really that valuable. You can always redo it. That's the beauty of the charts. So what do we got here on a weekly scale? I said this last week, been very, very vocal about wanting this, and I know I sound like a broken record, but look at this inversion. Price closes above here. Next liquidity target is this higher, right? But remember, we don't just go there in straight lines, right? What have we done? We've displaced through a key level. The close of last week, when we said, when we get these moves, we typically then chase down the liquidity resting above that prior week's high. We took that. Now let's look at how the candles responded. All right, the candles can tell us so much. The candles responded by failing to displace above this. It's actually come back down. It's taken liquidity from that high, come back down, and then it's closed here within the range of this. So now it's natural to expect some kind of corrective move, right? So where would we look? Well, on a weekly scale, I'm looking at this gap. Yeah, I'd love to be a buyer from this gap. All right, that's it. Just as simple as it gets there for me. What I would need to see to counter that is price then showing me some momentum and some reason to be bullish in the opposite direction. So we are in this bullish gap here, right? Now this is the daily gap. So I'm just going to mark that up so we can see the difference here. And while we hold this daily gap, if I want some extra confirmation, I tell you what I would love, and again, the market doesn't have to give me what I want or what I love. I'd love to see this low as a minimum taken out, right? Key liquidity resting below that low, price comes into here, we get some kind of recovery, reversal here, and this would just be an absolutely beautiful place to look for some long setups. However, even better, obviously, like I didn't really explain to you clearly, there is wicking down into this, weekly demand zone, if you like. I call it an order block, but it depends if you work in areas of supply and demand. Either way, this is where we're looking for the buyers, right? Chris B, yeah, sure, mate. Vet and ADA, yeah. I mean, yeah, Cardano's having a little bit of a thing. XRP as well be an interesting one to look at. Good friend of mine, Dusty BC. I don't know if any of you follow that legend, but he's been going on about XRP for a while, and I know he is an absolute dead-eye killer with that as well. There's one more couple of bits I just want to cover at the end as well. A good friend of mine again, Ionic, he put me in touch with this, and it's just been a real ripper. So let's take a look at that. Anyway, before I digress, I'm just going to get rid of these weekly levels here. We know we're in a key area. We know we've had that inversion. Price can really dip down a lot deeper into this, easily reaching down into these gaps, these inefficiencies. So this is where sometimes our Fibonacci's come in really handy, all right? So just taking it from the low to the high, we've swept liquidity from this low up to the high. This is a very valid price leg. We've had that lovely expansion as well. And I'm just going to pop my Fibonacci on there and say, where do I really want this to react from? Is down here below the 0.5, yeah, or from the golden pocket. All of these things align. However, crypto can run really hot, so that's why we have a plan B as well. And for me, if things run really hot from here, the first thing that I want to see is price set this order block here on a daily. Please remember, I'm going to label this up here as OBD, just order block daily, or if you see an OBH4, something like that, that's order block hour 4, so 4 hour, all right? Now, to validate this, we need to see price close above it, yeah? And then this, for me, should offer a really good area of support. So when we're bullish, yeah, like with all of these, what you want to see price do is you want to see price respecting the down close candles here. Yeah, so price respects this, retests it, pumps, closes above this, pumps. What happens here? Price retests this and pumps. Where to? Key liquidity, closes back down below it, showing weakness. Price ultimately flushes lower, all right? Now, we want the same principles from up close candles if we're bearish, meaning that if we have singular or consecutive up close candles, price closes below, We expect continuation, price seeking out liquidity from gaps, very small gap in here that held price, or ultimately below a low, as we saw with this one here, okay? So that's what I'm looking at here. Pullbacks are really healthy. If we just kind of open our charts here as well, just get our eyes on these other key areas for me, right? Because they are very, very key. Now, we're going to take a look at this ticker later, which should at least give you a little bit of a chuckle by its name. But NASDAQ here, right? Opening up. We've had slightly bearish. We're up on the day. We had that initial market pump overnight, up about 0.33%. All right. Same with the S&P 500, not up quite as much. However, we did see that overnight move higher. These are correlated risk markets. All right. So the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, basically looking at indices here. All right. Trying to gauge the market's appetite for risk. Had a very good chat over the weekend with a good friend of mine, Jimmy, our in-house psychologist and an exceptional trader in his own rights, talking about how we interpret that data. And they're the kind of really great key market insights I get from the team over at TBN. Now, the other thing that I do look at as well here with a focus a lot, on the 10s, but also on the 2s, are the government bonds, right? So one thing that we saw this morning is that bonds were down. I put a post out about it. Bonds were actually down this morning. You can see that move lower here on the 2s. The 10s were the same, consolidating. And the DXY was down as well. We're now starting to see that. That's the dollar index. Again, typically, if you have that kind of push and that pump on the dollar index, then, it can mean that, your risk assets are kind of taking a little bit of a hit in that respect, because money going into bonds, money going into the dollar is often a sign that the markets are having that little bit of a flight to safety. Now, you need to check the correlation with that over time, because it's not always correlated, right? But it is always something that I do pay a little bit of attention to. So that aside, excuse me, and Nahid, I believe, my friend, that it will be coming up very soon. If you check out Crypto Burbs Twitter, and we'll also be sharing it again later, I think we have plenty of stuff coming up on that. So there'll be one of many giveaways, mate. So just make sure that you're registered, make sure that you are registered for Congress, and then, retweet the post, and then you are eligible. So let me just have a look at this. And pop that on there. Okay, perfect. So now we're looking at ETH, right? We've kind of got our play in place, all right? I don't really know why that is or where that's come up there, but I cannot seem to get rid of it. So just have to deal with that for a moment. Let's maybe move across on to this one. Or onto this one. No, I don't know. 1 second. Don't know why that's popped up there. Let's just give it a little cheeky reset and see if it's left us alone. There we go. Perfect. The good old on and off again technique. So with ETH, I've kind of got my plays here, really. I'm watching this area carefully. I'd like to see price come back above this level. Ideally, I'd want to see a sweep down here. I'm now going to just get rid of that for a moment, because we're now going to move down to the 4 hour. Emar, you're very welcome, mate. Thank you very much. And yeah, Doge as well. We're going to climb into Doge. So let's have a look at it here. So if this is the premise, and this is the idea, if we're looking at this on a daily timescale, we know where the daily order block needs to be set. However, we need a daily close above that to validate that as an area of demand, or to validate that as an order block. So something I wouldn't mind seeing here, which aligns with a sweep of these levels, is a sweep of these kind of relative equal lows. They're a little bit far away, but you've got this failure swing here, followed by this. Looks like there's a lot of liquidity kind of tempting the market down to flush out this and move a bit higher. Tammy, hello, mate. Yeah, of course, Imar. Very, very, very much, of course. And thank you for politely asking. AVAX, I love AVAX as well. It's one of my favorite tickers to day trade. It is just, the liquidity is great. Just there's something so good about it. So if I want to be looking to take a more aggressive position in here and say I don't want to wait for the daily, first of all, I need to understand and appreciate the risk, okay? That's the, we could set a 4 hour order block here, but ultimately still reject the daily, which is why it's key to understand our intraday targets, right? And also the time frame that we're looking to do this on. No good taking an intraday setup if your time horizon is 2 weeks, right? Because the chances are the volatility, the price movement will shake you out or take you out of positions on the lower time frames before it delivers. So as an intraday trader, I use the 4 hour lot to frame my days. So I've got the same line here. See this line, see this down close candle. I want to see price closing above this. I'm going to be a little bit cautious of these lines, but ultimately what we can see here is just that we've got this beautiful liquidity stacking in the form of these untapped highs. What you often get in these situations, as we did here, for example, yeah, so we started to set these untapped lows, right? Untapped low, untapped low, untapped low. What does price do? It flushes down, drawing on all of that ready liquidity. All right. And that's kind of what we're saying here. That's why I'd like to see that flush and then that move up, then start attacking the liquidity above these highs. And we've ultimately got our key target resting up here. All right. So that's what I would like to see. However, you need to have plans to trade this both ways. So in terms of looking at that for aggressive entries, I think waiting for some of the 4 hours to get back above here looks really, really good. Now, taking this all off the charts just for a moment, right? And now let's just take a look at this on 1 hour for a couple of reasons, right? I just want to identify here for me where the key support and resistance levels are. And to do that, I'm harnessing my inner Dante, right? A guy along with SC that I learned so much from about in these markets, you know, which is I'm looking for violence, as he would say. And that means when price interacts with one of these levels, I want to see a big reaction, right? Resistance, resistance, big sell-off, resistance, sell-off, price closes above, retest, see how it's trying to hold that line. Ultimately, it can't, comes underneath, retest that level, sells off. This was a deviation, price got underneath, retest this area, bearish gap, sells off again. So for me, this is a real key magnet for price here. Yeah. Now, if I'm looking at that the other way and I'm saying, okay, well, where can I see the real aggression lower down, or where are those key wicks? Well, actually, we can see here, we've got these here that led to that big kind of pump. Now, if something really doesn't look overly clear, then what I want to do is I want to move that down another time frame and say to myself, okay, where's the key kind of support and resistance? And something I'm interested in here is this. Right. And I'll tell you for why, because I know it looks a little bit messy through here, but hold with me. This is like an hourly level, but we can see the key resistance here. The big pop above it really allowed us to establish ourselves. We consolidate and then we run very hot. Price then kind of gets stuck around this area where it's a little bit messy, but you can see how price is kind of interacting at this level. When it gains acceptance above, it pumps to here. Now, we see the engagement with this level again. We see another pump, engagement with this level again, another pump. So ultimately, we want to kind of see this level hold. If we start to close below this level and we start to see weakness, then really there's quite a nice, we don't have a lot of data down here, but there's quite a nice support and resistance flip here. Yeah. Key resistance, close above, price finds support here and moves higher. Now, we never came back down to this area here, ultimately kind of being held around the range mid. If you see these two key levels and you typically go ahead and just draw a Fibonacci between the two, you can really get an understanding of whether this is kind of acting like a range. Yeah. So when price plays into this, see how it holds the midline here, showing a lot of strength before it moves higher. So looking and taking that into consideration, and we want to do the same here, except I'll move this forward. So we've got this in real time, right? If we're looking at this as our range, once again, you can see as you look back the interactions that this midline's had: support, support, resistance, resistance, deviation, support, support, resistance, resistance. So as an intraday, hold this level, I can start targeting some sweeps, move to here, wait for us to hold above here, and then move a little bit higher. All right. Now, I'm not going to focus so much on the low time frame context for the other assets. ETH should give you a really good insight into that. You can look back through my live shows. You can look back through all the content that we have. There's some brilliant free resources available on our website as well, especially under infographics. However, just make sure that you're down in the description and you're looking for the Congress. All right, just get yourself signed up for that. 18th to the 1st of December, but there's going to be a load of stuff going on before that as well. And you can get access to all of the trading team calls, education, everything you want. All right. So that's where we are with ETH. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the daily and on the 4 hour. Okay. For Tao, Vanry, Pixel, Luna, Byte, Vet, Adder, Doge, AVAX, and forgive the language, but tits. Okay. My very good friend Ionic, put me in touch with this one, and you know, the dude's just such a super talent in the space. Ionic XBT, for anyone that's not following him, no association other than the fact that he's just an absolute Chad, brilliant fundamental analyst, along with our own wonderful Chris, crypto assessor. All right, but I want to take a look at that for you because that chart, we did some TR on that, the thing's absolutely ripped. You've got some good positions, so I'm just going to cover that for my own benefit as much as anyone else's as well. But let's start with TAO. What have we got here? Let's take a look. So loads of good squiggles going on there. What does it all mean? Well, quite simply, previously we were looking at this support resistance level. We can see this at the moment looks a little bit like we've had the deviation here, price failing to get that good secondary retest. However, if we just hide that for a second and focus on the gaps, look at what we were looking for here, right? This weekly gap. We've drawn down into this now. Remember what we've looked at pretty consistently on all time frames is we take our Fibonacci. We really want to see price coming down below this 50%. Risk to reward just makes it a lot more sense for, for buyers to step in here. And, we've had this down close candle. All right, price has kind of come in here. We can see that on a weekly scale. Now it's a case of saying, okay, do we hold this level and move up? Any weakness back below this? And there's a chance that we come down and we're going to sweep this low. Okay, so the low here on TAO is at 403.6. So on a daily scale, what were we looking for here? We were looking, when we did it last week, for price to close above this order block on a daily, and see how we didn't. See how important that rejection was. Yeah. Ultimately, that rejection there leads you back to the understanding that this is the order block being respected, this up close candle that price closed below. We didn't get the close above. We just got rejection after rejection. That there is your golden opportunity to trade lower. And if you miss that, the formation of that order block here, right, was your absolute winner. Yeah. Up close candles, price closed below, perfect retest, price flushes lower into our key weekly level. Yeah. Envy, I'll certainly try and squeeze that in for you at the end, my friend. Nero. Yeah, that's been a belter. I know SC has been going on about that for a long time as well, and rightly so. So look, all of this was good. Look, again, respecting the down close candles. What do? Come in, respect that. We respect the bullish gaps. Price pumps to liquidity, right? That's why we play these things level to level. Anyway, it's not about being right in the past. It's about making money. It's always about making money. Yeah. But at the end of the day, money, you need to understand, is a byproduct of having a successful trading system, right? And being able to execute that system. Anyway, preachy stuff over. Where are we? What's price doing? Well, it's holding this low quite nicely at the moment, actually. So this should be able to tell us a lot, actually. So if we get that, we see the price just dips down below this, yeah? So again, really lovely situation here where we can look for price to set this as the order block. Yeah, so let's label that out as our daily. And then we're in a really good state here. I think we've taken some liquidity from the lows. We're reacting from this bullish gap. Love to see price close back above here. And I think there's very little to stop it before we start taking on that high then. So if we get those conditions come into play, then I think the high at 623.4 is very, very much in play. So kind of finessing this. Okay, so actually, sorry, my bad. What would then be the bearish play? I'm struggling to get on board with a bearish play on this immediately while we hold this bullish gap here. We hold this gap here and we're just drawing back down into a bullish gap below. I'm not so interested in this upper part of the gap because it's been rebalanced to here. So the key liquidity for me is resting below 403.6. So hold this level for longs, get back above the daily order block for confirmation. Away we go. Close back below this level, show displacement. We still need to be cautious, right? Because look, higher high, higher low, higher high. Lower low here, but we still need to print a lower high and a lower low. So I think this, ultimately looking for caution on that time frame. But I think the 4 hour will probably tell us a little bit more. All right, 4 hour allows us to get involved as a buyer here, which I really like. So let's take a look at that. For me, again, I think, look, you've got these big inefficiencies down here as well. So price flushing out this. We've got a lot of liquidity resting above here. Let's get back above this 4 hour, confirm this 4 hour order block, 4 hour order block by closing above. Let's push higher, confirm the daily order block, and then we can look to compound this trade on the way up. Ultimately, this looks absolutely gorgeous from a perspective of just having untapped liquidity resting above all these highs. So when this thing really starts to run, I think it's going to run incredibly hot. Bitcoin having a little bit of a consolidation here, which I think is absolutely fine. I think, we've seen some really big pops across the market here as we look at our tickers. So everything looking really, really healthy today. Now, if I'm going to look at this TAO, so VANRY, let's have a look. Where are we here? Let's take a look at the Byte contract on this one, shall we? Why not? What's going on the daily? Okay, again, like most cryptos, really big kind of strong move up here. It's quite a tricky one actually, because we've not confirmed bullish or bearish order blocks here. We had this bullish order block confirmed here. Ultimately, price took liquidity from this high and is now returning back to the region of this order block again. So what I mean by that is this bullish order block here on a daily scale. When we closed above it here, that confirmed it as an order block. We then look for a retest and for price to hunt down two different liquidity targets. The first one being the swing high here, and the second one being these relative equal highs above. And the equal highs have been left intact. Swing high was taken here, so price ultimately rejected a little bit lower. Now we're just looking for this area to hold. So in terms of low targets, so targets to the downside, we are looking at levels at 0.08995, and we've also got this one tucked below it here as well. I think this order block here comes into play as well. Again, I think that's a really nice area to start looking for some long setups should we get it. The 4 hour, I think, like with the others, is going to give us that little bit of ability to get in sooner. So this down close candle here that's now confirmed, a close above that would make that our 4 hour order block. Okay, so we would look for price to come above, close here, and then we would look for pullbacks here, which are for buying and attacking those equal highs. Beautiful, efficient move lower. All right, nice balanced market. I mean, there's not too many areas that price should reject in there. Should just get, drawn like a magnet towards these highs, ultimately up towards these equal highs above. The other thing I like about this one is we've swept this low here, right? Meaning that as we've taken out the low, we've generated liquidity, we've trapped some people on the wrong side. So a really good place to pump. I think, close back down below this low after we've swept it really kind of then brings these lows into play. So I think a really nice clean play there on Vanry. So on Pixel, let's have a look what we got here. Okay, so, I'm always opening the charts asking myself, what's the last thing that price has done? So the last thing price has done is swept that high. Now, in terms of the next liquidity target above that, that's the real kind of clear and obvious one. So, we're looking at a really sizable run here up to 0.2404 if it can maintain this bullish structure. And I don't see any reason why it wouldn't, because it's currently holding bullish gaps. And this here, closing above this candle, makes this like a large order block, right? So we can see and we can sustain, a deeper correction into this area here. So let's take a look at what we've got mention of here. Sorry, guys, I'm missing some of your stuff in the chat. Let me take a sip of tea and just run through the comments quickly. Yeah, I think that's a good point, Victor. I mean, I've always used Fibonacci. I'm a very big fan of them for a number of different reasons. What I would say is come along and, grab that free membership and make the most of some of the courses that exist at TBN and learn a bit more about Fibs. So the other thing I would say is you really want to look to traditional markets and their use of Fibonacci's. Okay, so you go on to Bloomberg, you go into top hedge funds, you look at the world's top analysts that are working for these major funds. Fibonacci's are very, very much always in their line of thinking. Now, different ways to interpret that data, right? But ultimately, you're looking at it from a form of strength and weakness, areas to be a buyer, areas to be a seller, and also, areas that you can project to as well. Okay, so when you look for example, manipulation legs and you're looking for targets to the upside, we're taking this high to this low because that's the leg that swept liquidity. We want to know where to target here. And I don't have, upside in that respect, which is entirely possible when we're taking new all-time highs and bits and pieces, right? Then what I can do here is I can just click on these and go, okay, what do I want? I want my fibs in here. Where am I targeting? Look, 2 standard deviations. This is my real kind of key area of interest. 2 to the 2.5 level. I split it with a 2.25 as well. So I know that when I'm looking to be a buyer in here, I can project these Fibonacci's up and it gives me a general idea on where I can do it. This corrective move lower here, for example, just to show you we're not kind of cherry picking these things, right? Yeah, fine. It exceeded it a bit here, but look, that just gives you the idea that, okay, this is probably where price is coming to. And again, 4 is like a larger kind of based extension, but there are a lot of things that you can do with fibs. And I love the fact that, you see major players in the industry using them. And by major players, I mean, commercial entities, hedge funds, people like that, right? So really good point there, Vic. Also, you know, if on any of these live shows, any of you guys really want me to cover stuff like that, then please do let me know, because I can add a little bit of educational material. At the moment, however, I think, you know, people's focus is very much, as mine is, on just maximizing profits in this market and making the most of these conditions. So without further ado, what can we do to support our theory here? Well, what's capping the market? That's capping the market to the downside absolutely beautifully. This low at 0.1969. Price has swept liquidity here. We now want to see a little bit of resurgence. Again, broken record time, but without any significant gaps. If this is the first phase of this bullish recovery here on this time frame, yeah, then I just want to see price close above this 4 hour. And then I think price can pretty much, you know, without too much hesitation here, start making a move on 0.2240. So there we go. That's Vanry, that's Pixel. Luna. Good, sweet, mad old Luna. Who would have ever thought that we'd be longing and shorting this crazy old asset again? So look at this. These are some serious wicks going on here, right? So what's happened? I'm looking across here and I'm saying that's capped the market. We look a little bit further across as well. We also had this untapped higher here, right? I'll keep this one here as a local one. We can see the rejection. That's the first point. Price wants to establish itself above. Again, just looking at the daily candle, what does it tell us here, right? This down close, this up close candle closed across that body, this up close candle across that body, etc., 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 supporting the bullish trend. When we step back into that mode here and here, we got those lovely expansions. Now here, price opened, came back down, closed here, well within the range of this candle. So, you know, it's logical to expect some kind of corrective move here. So again, broken record, I know it's going to be similar on a few of these, but this is a great area to look for longs. All right, if this really is going to sustain a move higher, then that's what we want to do. Now, the difference here actually with Luna to some of the other charts is that we've seen this sweep. Yeah, so we've had the liquidity taken. What we've actually done now is set this order block as well. Yeah, so this is our 4 hour order block. What has price done? Closed above, setting the order block. I really like these setups because they're setups where it gives us a gap as well, right? So we know that's our 4 hour gap. So what's it telling us? 4 hours confirm this as a potential bullish move higher. We've seen price now retrace into this bullish gap down here. So this really is where I want to be looking to be a buyer. If I really want to finesse this in, what I'd love to see here in terms of a little bit more confirmation for some entries, if I want to be greedy, is see this bearish gap inverted. Yeah, so see price come close above this, and then we use this area on the retest, and then we use it to trade that higher. Ultimately, as long as this keeps rejecting, chances are that it kind of forces price down a little bit lower. If we get that, then I believe these are equal lows resting down here at 0.4340, which then become a really, really kind of clean target. So that's a really nice way to look at this here on Luna. So Byte, BYTE, USDT. What have we got here? Okay, so on Polynix, let's have a look. So we won't be running this one down onto such low time frames. You can tell by the gapping on the chart. It's a less liquid asset, meaning it's probably either a relatively new asset or one that's kind of like a little bit less known. Certainly doesn't look new. Well, conception in December 2023, right? Looks like it's got a nice upside to it. Looks like it kind of delivered that nice rounding bottom here. Again, you see where this just started to round off here. Looks like the pump. This was a much more elongated version of that. So on a daily scale, where are we? Well, we've gapped down here quite significantly from Sunday through into Monday. You know, we came down here, ultimately price closed here, but then gapped down and opened here. So let's just look and favor some recency here. What are we respecting? Well, we're respecting this daily bullish gap, meaning that I don't really want to short this while we're respecting, you know, a bullish gap here. We don't have much else to go on here, actually. Just kind of squishing this up a little bit, looking for a kind of key support resistance level. I'd say probably something like this. Yes, it's very rough, but I'm basing it really just to kind of get an idea on an area. Yeah, so huge reaction here. This was ultimately offered a lot of resistance over here. Huge reaction here, close below, sell off, back above, huge pump, get back underneath here, retest, so resistance, support, deviation, retest, price pumps. So while we're above this, you know, just adding a little bit more to the bullish fire, we got beautiful set of equal highs here, 3 of them. Yeah, I think that they're equal as well, or if not, we've certainly got that one and that one. So that becomes a good upside target. Early stage indications here are a little bit tricky actually, because we've got that. We know we're holding that bullish gap. We have to go a long way up here before we start setting bullish order blocks as well. So let's see if we can get away with, tricky to kind of push this as low as the 2 hour here. I think this is much more kind of like a positional play asset, where I think, you really want to kind of understand the fundamental landscape of bits and pieces like this, right? And just say to yourself, where are you happy still being a buyer? Yeah, are you happy to dollar cost average in lower? I think I would start to get a little bit concerned that this had a deeper correction in it if we started closing under this figure, which is 0. I think that's 5 zeros and then 853. Okay, so let's take a look at VET, not VERT. Duncan, hello, mate. I didn't see you sneak in there as well. Yeah, sure. Let me try and squeeze that in at the end as well. This is going to be a real, real hardcore close to the sesh, right? So, okay, VET. What are we looking like here on VET? Well, actually, something I like here is this. That area was retested. That's the kind of level that we want to see hold here in terms of the order block. Right, so again, just so you get the context, down close candles are the singular or adjoined. These kind of areas, when we close above them, become key points of interest, right? That close above, retest the area and move away. That's simply what we're looking for here as well. As I kind of look left, actually what I can see here is we've kind of taken out this key high. So it makes sense that we've had this corrective move, right? Ultimately, look how well that level was respected. When you kind of take highs and lows, comparing these, for example, see how price has more wick than body above, closes back below, weakness, right? Difference between that and when we got this, a rejection here, then a strong body close above, you're happy for this area to be retested. This line isn't going to be some magic line where price just touches it and then moons. What you're saying is this has shown us strength. Where can we get long? And where you can get long is from order blocks or ultimately from bullish gaps. Yeah, so that's what we're looking for here. Kind of breaking that context down further here. On a daily scale, we have an opportunity to set this as a bullish order block if okay, we close above it. At the moment, it's not confirmed, right? So we need to see price close above that. Looking at this now on the 4 hour. Okay, I like this on the 4 hour here, right? And I'll tell you for why, because we've got a really big, clear area to target here that says, okay, price comes into this area here. What does it do? If we see some low time frame bullish resurgence, we get our triggers in here, then this is the place, in my opinion, that you can look for these kind of recovery patterns. Trigger, that's where you can be long, right? And then ultimately you've got these targets resting up here. And then what you do is when you zoom out, this hopefully all then pans in to a daily candle that does something like this, closes above bullish, then this becomes our line here or this here, depending on which one we close above. Yeah, that gives us bullish continuation. All right. So that's certainly what I'd be looking for there, that green box. Or again, we want to take some early stage plays here on the H4. Then let's wait for an H4 close above this level, which is 0.03190, to then, get to those lower time frames. Take some intraday positions, manage your risk accordingly, right? And then build them into swings. All right. You don't need to just enter here and think this thing's going to, set new all-time highs. Right. Okay. ADA. Let's take a look here. Where are we? ADA. Throw an HD on the end of that, and I'm relating. Right, so daily. Oh, beautiful here on the daily, right? Good old Cardano. Love these old school coins. So at the moment, look, perfect little retest of that. That set the gap. That retested it here on a daily scale. See price get back above this, and I think just go time, really. This wasn't even retested, this order block down here. Yeah, again, look, bullish gap, expansion, bullish gap, expansion. If we get the bullish gap here, we've just retested this in the same way that we came and we retested that. Yeah, deeper retest here, but it doesn't matter. We get that little smidgen of a wick there. That can be enough. But for confirmation, let's see price close above 0.7414, and then I think this thing can really start to catch fire again. Ultimately, we can see the little rejection here, and how do we overplay that? Domsy, you are very welcome, my friend. Then I'm just looking at this right here. That 4 hour gap there looks tasty, because it's going to tell me one of two things. And it's not going to be right every time. Of course it's not, but it's certainly right enough for my system to make it profitable, which is here are our downside targets. And I'll tell you how we would look to play these. I like the way that they're clustered like that as well. Relative equal lows, all sat within a bullish gap. Yeah, beautiful liquidity pool here. So for me, I'm saying, okay, well, as it stands, price has set a high, a low, a higher high. So we do one of two things. This becomes our shift in market structure. This confirms it by setting the higher low here. And then price does this, dips into this, and then we start to moon from here. Target, the main target would be this initial target, which is at 0.8188. However, a deeper correction here will do one of two things. First of all, if we get something like this where price closes below, we ultimately invert this, then I think the price is going to chase down this liquidity. Then I'm looking for a recovery like this, yeah? Or maybe we go all the way down and retag this, this order block we said that we didn't retag. No problem, don't mind. Anywhere in this area here with current market conditions, I'm not looking to actively short. I'd consider an intraday scalp if we inverted this, but remember, we haven't yet. So ultimately, we're just looking for this area to be respected. It's bullish until proven otherwise. If it is proven otherwise, then I'm looking for longs from here if we get our recovery patterns, all right? And that is as simple as ADA gets for me. Now, I just want to share a little ticker with you that does make me smile. But it was recommended me to a good friend of mine, Ionic. Ionic's just a total dude. Give him a follow. Ionic XBT. Along with our very own Chris Crypto Assessor, wonderful FA analyst. But anyway, this is the one he brought to my attention. I want to share it with you guys because, I was very vocal about taking some positions in this. I've been connecting really well with the community over there who are just wonderful. So a big shout out to all of you that are over there in the TITS community. It just makes me smile every time I say it and just makes me realize what a wonderfully crazy world we live in these days. But technical analysis pays your bills at the end of the day, right? Narrative combined with technicals is the perfect solution. So what did we say? Ionic's telling me, bro, you need to get involved in this. This is a high conviction play for me. If he says that to me, then I'm listening. It's as simple as that, right? Now, quite simply, there's another line I just wanted to add on here, actually, just make it a bit thicker, because that for me was a key level that was capping this market. So what we had really here was we had price ranging around. So we said, okay, well, let's look at this. What have we got here? This was our bearish gap. Close above this, early stage recovery. Close above this, and we're away. So we started positioning in here. Then when we start to see these levels taken out, and again, remember that I said to you, not to sound preachy or like a broken record, but just make sure, you study what the candles are doing and what the levels are doing, yeah? Look at these rejection wicks. Nothing about them tells you the price is going higher here. Look at this higher. Look at the big body above it, yeah? That tells you price is probably having a nibble elsewhere. Look at that. Big body close above this level here as well, and even above this level. Then look, if we zoom in, how price reacts to this. Strong close, retest of what? Doesn't just retest thin air, does it? It retests a bloody bullish gap, right? Bullish gap, and this level, which was resistance, now turns support. Good confidence. Back above this level, what do we want to see? Retests of this and tests of any bullish order blocks or any bullish gaps are for buying. Now we're just in that situation where we are just looking, we're just buying this thing on the way up. However, don't be frivolous with it. Just pick your right areas to get involved, right? I never recommend, and I have absolutely no association with this ticker, right? Or anybody within it. It's just purely something that was introduced to me by someone whose opinion I respect greatly and had it backed up as well by other people whose opinion I respect greatly. And so this isn't trying to shill anything. I'm just saying this was of great interest for me. I've actually been a very bad investor over the last two. This is my third major bull market in crypto, and I traded very successfully through all of them. It's how I built my, my career, or certainly my name, what little of it there is in this space. But I didn't invest very well. I know people that played this so much better than I did previously. People, like the fundamental teams who found these great gems and these opportunities to get involved and had those diamond hands. People like my friend Bitlord, who just absolutely crushes these markets for fun. Crypto Kazi, Chris, Crypto Assessor. These are brilliant guys. Jay as well, the trading tank, right? So you can't be an expert in everything. For me, my approach has always been to go narrow and very deep. I have a broad and shallow understanding of the entire market, or as much of it as I can. But within my niche, which is price action trading, and especially intraday, that's where I want to be the world's best. Every day, that's what drives me. My motivation is to be the very, very best person in this space. Not for anybody else, for me, right? But what that means is I can't spread my time across all the millions of different assets that I want to. I can't be a fundamental analyst. I can't be an on-chain analyst. I can't build algo systems. So what do? I surround myself with the very best people that do all of that to draw on their knowledge. Very, very, very good tip in there for you. All right. So bullish gap here. I just, look, I'm seeing this as much more of a DCA play, right? Dollar cost averaging in. So, was heavily involved here. I was very vocal again about being involved here. And if we get down here, then I just buy as low as this thing decides to go. Yeah. And just accumulate. I'm not looking to do this with any leverage or anything like that. I'm just adding and adding and adding to the spot bags with a really high conviction play. And if it goes to zero, it goes to zero. But I think the community over there is amazing. They're seriously switched on. They're building a really big cult over there, and one of the really big things that you want to look for. Anyway, wanted to introduce you guys to that because I think they deserve a shout out. The community's been very, very kind to me. I love what they're doing over there. And I love the people that are telling me this thing is hot. So let's see what we get out there with the TIX community. Also, it's one of the fun things I've ever got to share memes over. So let's take a look at Doge, right? We'll try and get this wrapped up in the next kind of 10 minutes, guys. Apologies for running long, but there are so many good tickers out there right now and so many things we want to be looking at. So Doge, our old friend, look at this. I mean, beauties here. We were looking at these hidden divergences, right? How, it's always easier post when you look at these saying, oh yeah, let's just get above these levels and then we're going to moon. But that's why we were accumulating Doge down here. It's mad to think some of the buy orders we had in here around kind of 10 11 cents. Pretty mad. My good friend Hollis says $1 is programmed, and I have a tendency to believe him. Another fantastic technical trader, as well as just all-round sound individual. So I like this. Yeah, on a daily scale for Doge, we've got a beautiful low untapped over here. Let's just go. Just give me this box and then let's just buy this up. The sensible price action trader in me is saying, okay, let's just not get ahead of ourselves, BC, right? But I'm happy with this because I'm happy to DCA in as we move, right? So dollar cost averaging just means that I'm willing to deploy some capital here and some lower as we go. Ultimately, if you buy up here and then on the way down, you average your buy-in price lower. But, that's a technique in itself. So again, come and make the most of the resources over at the Bird Nest. Come and grab your free access to Congress. You can get yourself access to the Discord for free and just go mad. Just take every resource we have, every opportunity we have. Get on board with all of our trading team because there's calls firing off now as I am on this live show, right? We have an unbelievable profitability factor. The last 17 months have been insane, let alone the last few where it's just been a case of just doubling down. Anyway, sweep this, hit this box, I'm in, right? However, the other side of it is as well is a couple little caveat to this one. I often don't like order block candles, and this is just me, where the bodies are with inside a larger body here. Now, because of the aggressive nature that crypto moves in, with crypto, I will take a close above this as well. Ultimately, real confirmation for me comes with a close above this, especially with a strong move higher. But I'm not really, look, if I get a reaction down here, then I'm in, right? But Doge could just absolutely rip from here, yeah? And something I was looking at this morning was this. So we had a slightly unconvincing close above this. And the problem we had here is we took liquidity from this swing high as we did it. And look how perfectly this is capping the market at the moment. We get back above these, this level and this level here, and this is golden, all right? At the moment, this thing's looking to push down a little bit. So I'm saying, okay, where can we take liquidity if we're going to move this higher? This low here, which is at 0.35188. Mad, by the way, the figures that we're looking at for Doge at the moment, when not so long ago you could buy this single figures, right? And I mean like 9 cents. So yeah, I think sweep this or this area. These are the key areas to look for longs, right? Looking here, and looking anywhere in here. Yeah, that's a really, really, really key play for me. So Doge, feeling bullish, just want those technical levels to overlay, and then we are good to go. So AVAX. You're very welcome, Tammy. Very, very welcome. Daily, not lots really here, actually. In truth, on the daily, we didn't take out this swing high. So that now we have this high as well. This failure swing about to confirm when this daily candle closes, I think offers a really, really good upside target. Downside targets here at 30.59, upside at 37.68. No confirmed order blocks, no gaps to kind of base this off. Looking across left here, what have we done? We've come and had a bit of an argument with this FVG over here. Yeah, so this gap or fair value gap. But ultimately what we've done is rebalanced it. But look how the body's respected that, by the way. So that's a bearish gap. See how the body couldn't close above it? The wicks tell you everything, right? This is contained here at the moment. Close above this, invert this. More reason to go long here. But aside from the inversion there, meaning a close above, which also would happen to set us this bullish order block here, confluence people, always confluence, find multiple reasons to back your trade ideas up. Yeah. And then you can execute with less hesitation as long as you've got a data-driven system, right? So close above that on a daily scale, I am in. While we hold below this at the moment, maybe we purge this lower, but what I'm going to do is focus a lot more on the 4 hour here. Yeah, a couple of perfect targets here. This low, all right, which is at 34.28, as well as this low here, which is even nicer because it's a low that rebalanced this bullish gap, move down into this area, followed by recovery, and I am looking to go long. Or we close above this and set a 4 hour order block, in which case I'm then also looking to get long. This bearish gap here can also offer some confluence because it's now been rebalanced. But a close above this, and this really is go time. We set the bullish order block on the 4 hour, we inverse the bearish gap that's been containing price. We'd like to see all of that happen after we sweep this low or this low, yeah, and we do something like this. Maybe we get this low, maybe we react just after this low. Either way, they're the setups that I'm looking for here on AVAX. Nero, and, you know, SZ, as much as a lot of others have really been kind of going after this one as well for a long time now. So fair play to them. They gave some really good heads up on this. Now, what we can see here is some really kind of volatile price action. What we're setting here, you can see, is this compression, right, where we're just kind of setting this series of higher lows. Now, this does represent good liquidity pool under here as well, right, which we need to be a little bit careful of. But ultimately, what I'm looking for are just for some sweeps and now some upside, right? So sweep of this level here is the first target at 0.0772, and then ultimately we're then just looking lower here. Reverse of that is if we get a close above this here, which would be the early stage recovery, to set that order block, or even ideally this one because of the range of this. But I think I would take an aggressive play here. This is just stacking up this beautiful liquidity pool here. Yeah, that's just gorgeous. Price loves chasing down this. Sweep of these lows, run those highs. Then I'm super interested in that on a 4 hour scale. We're just looking for another version of that, right? I mean, look at these lows, untap low, untap low, untap low. In fact, equal lows here as well. If I was a betting man, and obviously I am, fun enough, I suppose, because, you know, this is a form of, I would say, betting, isn't it? Really gambling, speculating, if you will, but I really don't bet on much else. Then these equal lows here are a really, really good target. This one and that one being really close, but that one also being in the game. Flush this out and recover. I think that's the perfect spot. Early stage recoveries would need to close above this for me here on the 4 hour, which would confirm that as a 4 hour order block. We use this as a base then to confirm the higher time frames and ultimately push higher. And for our friend Duncan, we're just going to take one look at this last one on Theta. Let's have a look at where we are. Look at this one on the perp contract. I can't find my spot on for some reason, but that's okay. What have we done here? Actually, this is looking quite nice. I wanted to look at this on the weekly because I remember looking at this before, just thinking, okay, we've confirmed this order block here now as well, right? And we'd really struggled to do that until we did it with this one. But again, look, you're just running the next liquidity, which was this high. It failed to kind of gain that resurgence much more, unfortunately. So on the daily scale, oh, it really did have a good attempt there. So we've stayed above. Look how we've reacted to this level. Look, we know about that weekly level here, right? We set that weekly order block. Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. Then what do? We then look on the daily to refine these. Look how we just tickled that gap down there. I love it. Just enough to get that. So now on a daily scale, really, what we want to do is see price close here, confirm this daily order block. And then I think that we can really kind of move up from there. Yash and Thor, hello mate. Come and grab yourself, look, just grab yourself some Congress access. You can see the entire trading team's portfolios, access, what we're backing, live positions we've got open, all of the trades we take with breakdowns, analysis, and everything like that. Not just from me, but from some of our really, really incredible positional players and traders as well. So just come and get that, get free access to the Discord, mate. And you can basically, all of our information, we're completely 100% transparent. All of the calls are posted. P&L is posted every month. Every single call, successful or otherwise, breakdowns of the calls, why we took them, how we analysed them, what we learned from them, as well as the systems that we use to trade them. So I'd love to see you over there with us, and we'd be more than happy to guide you through all of that. Like I say, normally a paid Discord, but available for free at the moment. So, you know, come and make the most of it. So want to see the daily close above this. I am, mate. Yeah, if anybody's interested in following me, you can do so on X. Yeah, you can grab that. Or, you know, I'd also recommend just following the Burb Nest as well, and obviously the wonderful Crypto Burb, who you can find through that too, as well as the team. So holding that here, want to see that close. So we haven't got confirmation on that. So what's the 4 hour telling us? Well, 4 hours telling us we've had it on a 4 hour scale. Yeah. This candle here, also this one over here, we'll just do this one, right? So that's our H4. So we've already started to build this base. Yeah. Now what I'd really like to see, because see how we've run some local liquidity here as well, right? We've taken out this higher. See if price leaves this or if it has the power, because what I'd love to see here is price come back down to this order block area. Yeah, either wicking down and nibbling at that bullish gap there, or maybe even having a slightly deeper correction into this bullish gap here. Ultimately, what have we done? Higher high, higher low, higher high. Look what's happened before. Taking liquidity from the highs. What do? Price moves up. See how the candle formations look so similar here, comparing this bit of price action to this. Expansion. Notice how you then start to get the long wicks here. 1, 2, 1, 2. Price drives up just a little bit more, as we do here. Yeah, maybe coming to take that out. Then it corrects down to a bullish gap here and then runs. So this bullish gap here and here, along with this order block, are the key areas. I think if things are going to go really hot, then I think this is the area that we look to react from, just down here. And if we really wanted to finesse this one, price is really trying to push down here, but ultimately look what it's doing. It's just setting and respecting these hourly order blocks at the moment. Remember, our higher time frame ultimately takes precedent here, but you know, at the moment it's really respecting price action. So I think while we see these continue to hold, I think we want to be a bit cautious, but ideally we want to see a deeper kind of rundown into these levels here. All right, guys, look, I'm going to love you and leave you there. An hour and 12 minutes live today, which is always a pleasure. Hopefully we don't cover TAO, Vanry, covered BTC, ETH, Pixel, Luna, Byte, Vet, Adder, TITS, Doge, AVAX, Nero, and now Theta. So hopefully there's been some information there of interest. Please do come and sign up for your free place at Congress. It's always a pleasure to have as many of you over there as we can. We're going to have more and more information coming up as you see it. Geo, Nit, my guys, legends, each and every one of you. I'm going to see you all over at the Nest hopefully very soon. No excuse for any of you not to come and join. It's completely free access, right? You get 2 weeks of it, so come and make the most of it and see if you want to stay with us in the long term. And if you don't, make the most of everything you have and leave with our absolute blessing. All right, Chris, very much appreciated. Ozzy, my tea drinking brother, let's keep the cups flowing. And there we go. Domsey, pleasure is all mine, my friend. All right, so let's get on. There's going to be loads of good information coming out at the moment as well. You are all very welcome. Have an absolutely amazing start to your week. Yeah, do trade carefully. Look for those opportunities. Reach out to us on Twitter. Come and join us over the Nest. Look forward to seeing each and every one of you with us over there very soon. Have a fantastic day ahead, and I'll see you legends around the Nest.
Oh,